J-Tech, and today I'm going to show you how to solder a wiring harness back together. Now we found this break, this wire right here, so we need to solder these two back together. So the first thing you want to do is cut it, and you're going to cut it about an inch back, inch and a half back. Just going to strip it out. Alright, so we got this side going, now we gotta get this one. Alright. So before we connect these two, we want to put some shrink wrap on here because it's gonna connect the wire. It's gonna protect the wire after we get finished soldering it. Go ahead and slide that on there. Just slide it back and get it out of the way. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to turn these at a 90-degree angle, roughly. Then you want to hook them together. And then you turn them against each other to get a good connection, because you don't want to rely on the solder to hold this together. You want to make sure it's got a solid mechanical connection, like that right there. Alright, now that we have that, this is our solder right here. What we're going to do, so now we're going to sit the wire on the heating gun to get the wire hot. Once the wire's hot, we're going to take our solder, just going to lightly touch it, wait for it to get hot. Because once the actual wire gets hot, the solder will just glide over it. If you glob it up in one spot like I just did, you can just take the heat gun and melt it back down and spread it. Alright. So we let that dry a little bit. Flip it over. Get the other side just a bit. You don't really probably don't even need any more. But let's put a little bit more on it just in case. Alright, now we're going to let this dry. Let it cool off. Alright, so now that we have our solder right here, mine kind of looks more like a weld. We want to put the shrink wrap over it. We're gonna do this one at a time. We'll put this one here. We're gonna take our heat gun, it's like a little fan, and it's gonna actually melt shrink wrap around it. I want to do both of them for maximum protection. Our wire is repaired. So that's the basics on how to solder. You can do this with any kind of wire. If you have to replace the wire, make sure you replace it with the same gauge of wire that you started with. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Check back with me next week for another video. Thanks.